All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Ashley Hunter, your host with Brookline High School, talking about Black history and local Boston entrepreneurs and shakers and creatives. So today, I'm excited to talk with Nana today about what she's doing, her organization, and all the different things about her. So we'll jump right into it. If you can tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, where you went to school, all of that kind of, those kind of things.
Okay, sounds good. So my name is Nana. Obviously, Ashley just said that. My background, so I was actually born in Ghana, which is in West Africa. So I'm first generation immigrant. My family and I moved from Ghana when I was 6 to Worcester, Massachusetts. So that's where I was kind of like raised for a majority of my lifetime. I went to elementary school there, I went to middle school there, I went to high school there. And then for college, I decided to go to UMass Lowell, which is in Lowell. And I majored in entrepreneurship. So that's what my bachelor's is in. I'm currently pursuing a master's in education. So my hope, and kind of really connected with what I do with my nonprofit, is like bridging the gap between entrepreneurship and education and kind of using that to teach students.
Nice. Okay. So, and you said you were from Ghana. What was, what was the transition like, coming to Ghana and then coming to Worcester,
Yeah,
Worcester, Mass?
yeah, I know. So like I talk to other immigrants all the time about their transition, and I feel like I kind of had like slightly better transition, because if anyone knows like the Ghanaian community or Worcester, people know that like Worcester has a very heavy Ghanaian population. So
Oh,
like although like my family and I were like, wow, we're in a new country, everything kind of felt familiar, because you could go to like a local beauty supply store that was owned by a Ghanaian woman, or you can go get your hair done, or you can go to like a Ghanaian restaurant or a Ghanaian church. So like there was so much community still in Worcester, which ended up being great, because like I don't think my transition was as drastic as other people's.
yeah.
Yeah, so I would say besides like everything else, the obvious, everyone is different from different races, and in Ghana everyone's Black, and education, everything else was different. But I think sense of like community and things like that, I kind of felt that here in Worcester, so that was good.
Nice. I didn't know that Worcester had a good population of Ghanaians. So that's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. I'm not from here either, so that's pretty interesting to know. Okay, so and you're going right now to get your master's in education to connect with what you're doing right now. So if
Mhm.
you can tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about your Get Girls Going.
Yeah. So Get Girls Going is actually a nonprofit that works with Black teen girls. And the hope is to use entrepreneurship as a tool to help them gain like leadership skills, but also to help them start a business from scratch and to grow their business. We work with girls in the summer, we work with girls during the school year, and we just pretty much ask them like, what's your idea, or what problems in the world do you want to solve, or what value do you want to add to this world. And most of the time we find that like it's connected with their passion, so the things that they really care about, and then really helping them take that idea and to like make it a real thing, is what we are like driven to do. So that's pretty much what it is.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And so, like, do you like partner with like particular schools, or how do you recruit teams for this your organization? Sorry.
Yeah. So obviously virtual, everything's changing. But prior to virtual, the way we would do it is, yeah, we would have like school partners. So we would work close with guidance counselors from schools, different high schools. We would do like lunch sessions where we'll go like during lunch and table, or we'll go do like a presentation in a class and just really share like what we're doing, and then have girls sign up that way. And the same thing for mentors, because the girls that are actually in our program have mentors, so they all are given mentors from college, and the mentors from college, we also recruit them during like club fair at like colleges. So
Pretty cool. And
yeah.
so, like, how did you get this idea? What really kind of pushed you to start this?
Yeah. So when I was starting off my journey doing my bachelor's, I actually like went to school for entrepreneurship, which is like weird, like entrepreneurship,
Yeah, I've
entrepreneur.
never heard of it.
Yeah. But prior to doing entrepreneurship, I did engineering. And while I was pursuing an engineering degree, I had an opportunity to do like certain like internships. So it was either through the summer, or sometimes there were times where I took a whole semester off to like dedicate myself to an internship. And I thought it was important to do because like sometimes you're in class and you're learning the content, but like you can't really like picture what it's going to be like to do it in real life, right? And
Yeah.
so I wanted to like really make sure I was like, if I'm going to struggle through these calculus classes, I want to make sure that like I really love it. And so when I did the internships, I like every day would go to work and feel like, well, first of all, I was the only Black woman there,
Mhm.
right? And so like it was so hard because I felt like I couldn't connect with anybody. Like I didn't have a person to go to or a mentor to go to ask questions, and things like that. And so I started to like not kind of like question why Black women weren't in spaces of like, I don't know, like corporate spaces or spaces where they're able to lead and things like that. And I met like another Black woman, but she wasn't like, she was also another intern, right? So like, I don't know, just thinking about those things, I started to think about like what systems or support systems I had growing up as a teenager that allowed me to kind of gain this position to be at a place that I am today. And I wanted to do that for someone else. So I was like, growing up, it was like my mentors that were like, okay, Nana, you can do it, or, like helped me through some of the dark times during my high school career. And so like, I was like, yeah, if I can do something to like help uplift other Black women to get into these positions. So like, we're not going to corporate America and seeing like nobody else, but we're seeing ourselves, then
Yeah.
like, I want to do that. And that's actually what like made me shift like my major. So after that internship and like after that experience, I was like, I want to spend my life doing this rather than like doing this. And so I went to my advisor's office and I was like, all right, I know I'm like 2.5 years in, but I'm about to switch my major. And so I did.
No, and that's pretty cool that you were able to, it's you figured it out
Mm-hmm.
before you graduated and found like, your purpose, and it's never too late to switch.
Yeah.
Never too late to pivot. And so I know you said like, things look a little different, especially right now in
Yeah.
COVID. So, how is it going? How is it going with COVID? Are you able to still like, recruit and, and recruit more mentors and recruit
Mhm.
more girls?
Yeah. So we actually are like up until recently switched to like a summer model. So at first we used to work with girls and our program was after school, like pretty much like an after school program. So we would meet with students after school, we'll meet them on the weekends. And then like we just like felt that like although the relationships with mentors and mentees were great, um, like it was really hard for students to like go to school, then come and focus on this and really like get the full experience. And so we're doing a summer model where we have like a 4-week summer incubator, and that 4 weeks is like time that the girls will just spend dedicated and get girls going throughout the summer. And so during the school year, the programs that we are doing are more like workshops and panels and events like that. And then kind of gearing up for the summer. And then once the summer comes, that's when we are recruiting and trying to have a full load of like students as well as mentors to kind of participate in our program for those 4 weeks.
Nice. So what kind of like workshops do you guys put on, or panels do you guys facilitate?
Yeah. So we're actually going to be starting it up soon, but obviously like the goal of Get Girls Going is to really empower teen girls in entrepreneurship. And so that's something that we want to continue to like put out there. And like obviously everyone knows Black women struggle in this country, obviously. And so like there's this, and I think due to Breonna Taylor and lots of things that are just happening, like we're starting to be aware of that. And so I'm grateful for that. But I also recognize that like there isn't much attention on like Black younger girls. So it's almost like this thing of like intersectionality and like looking at the different ways that you're viewing the situation. And so for me, I felt like there were things that are out there for like Black women, although there should be more. And I see that happening, but I felt like there was nothing for like Black teen girls specifically. Like if you were in this age of like teenage years, you had to like wait till you were a woman to like participate in these like entrepreneurship panels or pitch competitions and things like that. So that's what we're focused on. We're trying to focus on putting programs together specifically for like teen girls of color, Black teen girls. So like showcasing other entrepreneurs that are like 15, 16 years old that are like also Black teen entrepreneurs. So showcasing them, having them speak to other teens, showcasing also women and showing how they transition from their teenage years to being women. So things like that are the things that we are focused on.
Nice. I love like, like you said, it's a lot of focus on Black women, but not on, on teen girls. And a lot of the times, like entrepreneurs, we start developing these characteristics that you need as entrepreneurs in your teenage years, and you don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. And then having them talk to each other, other teenage entrepreneurs talking to each other, I think, is definitely more relatable than sometimes like an adult coming in and saying, this is what I did.
Right.
No, I really respect it. It's pretty cool. Where do you see your organization in the next 3 to 5 years or so?
Yeah. One like a dream of mine, which that I've always had, was for Get Girls Going to kind of be a space not just for like local teen girls in Boston, but I feel like there's so much out there, like in the country, right? And so like I always say this to like my friends, where like we talk about how like being a Black woman is what brought us in a room together. A lot of my friends that I made from college, it was like we noticed that we were like the Black woman, like the only Black woman in classes, and so we would be like, all right, let's link up after class, and that's how we became friends. But like even in that group, you learned so much because it was like different Black women from different places, right? Like we weren't all just from Boston and Worcester, and we weren't all Ghanaian. Like there were people that were like, some of my friends are Haitian, like some of my friends are Nigerian, and so like with that already in that space, you're learning so much. And so what I think is that like I would want GGG to be a place where there are other girls from different parts of the country also being able to come to the summer program and to interact with other girls from Boston. So maybe you'll get some girls from Washington, D.C., maybe you'll get some girls from New Orleans. But like, I think in that space, you're not just learning about what it means to be a Black woman in entrepreneurship and being a Black woman in this country, but you're learning about the other parts of like the country that you didn't know about.
Wow. No, that's it's ambitious, and I think it's definitely very possible just to see, even if you have like almost like a chapter almost
Right.
in different parts of the country and getting together every summer.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I love this. um, I would say, are there any like collaborations that you would like to see GGG work with, or anything that you want to do in particular?
I would say collaborations for me are like super important, and I wouldn't say like there's like one, but I think the collaborations that are most important for me are like collaborations with schools. And the reason why is like I feel like schools are spaces where a lot can happen, and not just like the regular curriculum that you're learning in class, or not just like the school day, but like there's so much that can happen in a school setting. And I feel like schools represent like this positive environment where students are able to feel safe. So like I love when schools are able to do like when they have like in health like services, or when they have like like growing up in my school, elementary school, we had like a dentist come every other month, and like you would be able to get like dentist work done, or we would have like people bring like bikes and we would be able to like ride a bike. It was like random all the time, but like the hub was the school, and like it was all of the organizations and like the partners that were working with the school in order to bring what the students needed to the students. And I think that's like my hope, to continue to like work with schools, and also just the colleges as well, where we are hoping to seek mentors to continue to kind of build those partnerships. Because I think that's where you get a reoccurring of like mentors and students, and with those partnerships, I think like you're able to like sustain your program that way.
Oh, nice. Okay. What has been one of the most like rewarding things for you, you know, in this time?
Hmm. Um, I think in just doing this work, I think the most rewarding thing is like hearing the impact, right? Like, so like when one of my students walk up to me and they like, Nana, like without this program, I don't know where I would have been, or like this program helped me do this, or because of this, I did this. It makes like everything else, like all the struggle, like trying to, you're like, okay, something's happening. I'm doing something. And I think that's a thing that like, for me specifically, I feel like nonprofits have to be very careful about, because as a nonprofit, you're assuming that you're going to add something to someone's life that they need, right? Like I'm coming in here to like fix something that's broken, or help somebody. And like oftentimes if we're not careful, we might actually harm them more, or we may not, and we may not be even aware of it. And so like every time I hear that like, no, this is working, or this helped me do this, or I was able to do this, then it's like, it's kind of affirming for me to be like, okay, I'm not harming anyone. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm actually like helping people.
Yeah, adding value. That's
Mhm.
pretty dope. And what has been like you maybe one of the most challenging or something that's been challenging for you in this process?
Yeah. Um, I think, I don't know. I think the difficult part for me is kind of maybe just like the trying to convince people of your vision and your passion.
Mhm.
Um, and I say this because it's like, even in the nonprofit world, um, although most nonprofits are geared to kind of working with Black and Brown youth and things like that,
Mhm.
the system itself is still like, you'll go to nonprofit events, and you'll still see majority white men, or you'll still see majority like white women, and they're like not as many Black leaders that have nonprofits. They're not really trusted with funding to do the work, right? So it's like, I'd rather trust my friend that I know with this, $100,000 to like serve Black and Brown students, rather than give it to like this person that I may not know but is Black and is also serving Black and Brown students. So I think that's been the challenge. And it's trying to convince and really relay the message, and like share the vision of like, this is why this is important, especially when you're like trying to convince people that really don't understand it, right? It's like yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying because I worked for a nonprofit before, and I've always gotten the feeling of like the savior complex and
Yeah.
all these different things. So how I guess kind of piggybacking off of that, how have you been able to overcome that? Not feeling I guess not feeling completely invited in the spaces that are built, are really built for us. How
Yeah.
have you overcome that?
Yeah, I think for me, it's I would say like the impact or the work that you do kind of shows, is like the proof for everything.
Mhm.
So like, rather than me trying to convince people that like this is important, this works, I'm just gonna like try to do what I can. And so I think that's been one thing, and I think the idea of Get Girls Going came about because that experience from working at the internship. um, but in that moment, I realized like, if Black women aren't given the opportunity to move up in companies, or to be leaders of companies, or to grow professionally, then like, we're about to create our own table and sit at it.
You know? you know.
I was like, why are we going to spend time, like, instead of trying to spend time trying to convince people to like hire us and to give us more responsibility, or to have us sit at the C-suite of their company, like, why don't we just create our own companies and then become leaders of that? And so like, that idea, I think, is kind of like what keeps me going. And so I'm understanding that like, this organization that I started is my own table, and like, despite the struggles and how hard it's going to be, that like, I'm gonna do it because then it's providing other, Black women and Black girls an opportunity to do that for themselves.
Absolutely. So it's like I can show you better than I can tell you.
Yeah,
You might
yeah,
not think it's impactful, but I definitely will show you.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Um, what advice would you give to, well, I guess, how it's kind of like two things.
Mhm.
What advice would you give, to make, we have high schoolers, we have some adults watching this as well. What advice would you give to them if they want to start their own nonprofit?
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing is to like talk to people. And like I know like we say that all the time, like talk to people, get mentors, but I think it's really important to connect with people that are trying to do exactly what you're trying to do. And like granted, like there may not be people that are doing exactly what you're doing because your idea may be like really new and really, just like a new innovative idea. But like if you're starting a youth program, talk to other people that have started youth programs. And I mean like talk to people that have been successful, talk to people that haven't been successful, talk to people that are like doing it right now, but they're struggling. And then talk to people that like also are interested in starting one. And I say that because it's like you never know what these conversations are going to give you, and the connections that you're going to make with these conversations could actually like really change like your journey, so for me starting out, I like put it upon myself to like set up random meetings with people. So I would go in an organization that like was about youth entrepreneurship, or was about Black girls specifically. So like there was never one that combined the two, which is what Get Girls Going is, but like it's one or the other. And so I would do a lot of these calls and I would say, hey, you have a nonprofit that gears towards Black girls. Like, how did you start it and what did you do? And like, tell me everything you know. And there's gonna be some people that maybe not, they don't want to share like, I don't know, there's some people that are stingy. They're not going to want to share their
Yeah.
secrets with you. But majority of people are going to want to tell you and they're going to want to talk about it. And they're going to want to share their story because at the end of the day, if they really care about the impact and they care about the work, then there's like enough seats for everyone to like do it. So I would say that's the one thing I would say, like start talking to people that are doing the work that you want to do.
Nice. And have, when you're talking to these people who are part of similar organizations,
Mhm.
have you been able to like maintain a connection with them or, really build upon that relationship?
Yeah, and I think that's another benefit of like doing that because when they're also like working on stuff, they also think of you, right? Or like when new opportunities come up in a room, they may say, "Oh, we can't do it right now, but I know of a person that's starting a nonprofit that's doing similar work, and they can do it." And so your name starts to show up in rooms that you probably didn't think that they would. And yeah, and I think it's important to like keep in contact with those people that you're talking to.
Absolutely. And I think that definitely like in this like digital social media only
Mhm.
texting age, it's really
Yeah,
important to make sure like we're building and maintaining,
yeah,
relationships because it's really hard to be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna text or
yeah,
I'm gonna follow you on social
exactly.
media. No, so that's definitely a really good point. And I know you said so you're from Worcester,
Mhm.
you went to school in Lowell. How did you end up in Boston?
Oh yeah. So I actually moved to Boston because I got a job at Tufts University, working like with their entrepreneurship center. And so I would put on like really big events for them, primarily like pitching competitions and things like that. So anything that the students at Tufts needed, the ones that were doing like a minor in entrepreneurship, I would like create those events and things like that. So that was like my first job out of college. And so I was like, I'm just gonna move. It's 45 minutes away. And so I did. And ever since then I've been here because I'm like, I there's something that I noticed in Boston that I haven't noticed in like Worcester or Lowell or other places in Massachusetts. It's like there's so many opportunities here. And I love that. Like there's so many resources and so many programs and so many opportunities. Like even when thinking about like starting this, when I looked up youth entrepreneurship programs, like it was in Boston, like nowhere else in Massachusetts, like Boston. And so I just feel like there's so much like network here. I feel like there's so much potential here. And so I was like, I'm just gonna stay here and do it.
Stay here and work it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So and so your organization is based primarily in Boston. Do
Mhm.
you have like any plans to maybe shift it west or north or south or anything?
Yeah, I haven't like thought too much into it, but I would love to. Like when you were saying, yeah, like you can have a chapter, and I was like, yeah, that's a good, that's a good
I
idea.
think it's so important, and I
Yeah.
have a niece that's have a niece that's 14, and I also have a niece that's 8.
Hmm.
And so, I'm always trying to talk to them about, make sure you're on top of your stuff. Make sure talk to your teacher if you don't know all of these things. Like really trying to make sure we empower them as much as possible,
Yes.
because it's something that's definitely needed. Black boys and black girls.
Yeah. Right.
So no, I really looking forward to it. Um, I think just one more question for you. So talking about, we're talking about Black history. We know Black history is every day. But what does Black history mean to you? What does Black History Month mean to you?
Yeah. I loved when you reached out to me and like the message was Black History every day. I was like, yes, because um I think that you cannot confine like Black history to a month. Especially when I truly believe that, America is what it is because it was built on the back of Black people. And so yeah, for me, Black history really means like a blueprint for your future. Um, I think every time when I feel like I'm about to give up or like I feel like overwhelmed or I feel tired or you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna vote or like anything, like anytime there's like a question, it's like, all right, when you think about the history and like where we came from and like
Woo.
right. And you're just like I can't be tired. Like I am tired, but I'm gonna have to push through because my ancestors did, and they did it for me. And so for me, Black history is like a reminder. It's like it's legit Black history every day because it's like the thing that like pushes you through. And yeah, life is hard for being a Black woman in this country, but like yeah, I would say that reminder every day is what Black history is for me.
Such a good reminder. Like
Mhm.
we get tired, but it's okay to take a break. But
Yeah,
we keep pushing on.
yeah,
We've been through a lot in this country and just globally, actually,
yeah.
globally. So Um, well, I want to thank you so much for sharing, your organization, your background, and then your hopes and dreams for your organization. I'm really looking forward to see what you guys do in the future, and definitely reach out to me if you have, if you need anything or like that. So thank you. Oh, wait, one more thing. Sorry. If people want to find you or connect with you or your org, where can they do that?
Yeah, so they can go to getgirlsgoing.org, or they can follow us on Instagram at getgirlsgoing.
All right,
Mhm.
perfect. I think I'm already following you guys, but I'll definitely make sure I double,
Okay.
make sure I follow. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming in.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.